Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Brandt, and this is episode 2 of Practice Marketing Secrets. What I'm going to be going over today is pretty exciting. This is one of the first things that kind of blew my mind when I got into this whole, trying to grow my practice and the marketing side and the sales side, and trying to look and look and look and find all these different solutions to the problem that I was having. And I read a book and a couple different other books, and ultimately figured out that there's a easy model, there's an easy method, and I want to share that with you guys today. I think you guys are going to really like this. But before, the reason why we're going to go through this is, the secret formula for attracting your ideal patients. Why is that important? And so for me, I remember very vividly 4 or 5 years ago, starting out of school, starting our practice up from ground zero, and we had no idea what we were doing, but we thought we did. I pulled my wife with me, and we decided, we're gonna open up right out of school with no experience from a clinical standpoint, other than what we went through with school and our externship, and then we had worked for another group of chiropractors and learn their model. And so we thought, we're gonna go out and we're gonna do this, we're gonna crush it, and we're just gonna have the dream practice right out of the gate. And as many of you know, that's not true. So we got into practice. The whole story actually is we're going to stay where we were at the externship and be an associate, but the state never, or they never got our PT board application. So we ended up not being able to take our PT boards. We went all the way down from Tennessee to Georgia back to school to take the PT board and couldn't take it. And so we ended up going to the bars drinking and like, what are we going to do? So we started looking online and figured out that we could go back to Maryland and practice without PT boards, and then we could always bring it in later. So that's what we kind of were forced to do. So we came back to Maryland, opened up our practice, and here we are now. But I remember when we first started practicing, we were going out and doing all these different types of marketing events. We were trying to find as many different channels as we possibly could to get in front of people. So we were going to the grocery store, we were going to the fairs, we were going to events, we were going to like literally everywhere we possibly could to get in front of people. And we didn't really care who we were getting in front of. We just wanted to get in front of as many people as we could, because that's what we were taught. And as a result, we were bringing in a lot of people into the practice, but they weren't the ideal people that we wanted for our practice, is what we found out. Because what ended up happening is we brought a lot of people in that weren't a good fit for what we were trying to do. They weren't a good fit for our message. They weren't a good fit for our service. And what we ended up doing is we kind of resented our practice. We resented going to practice every day, and it wasn't fun. So you get to that point where even when you're growing your business and you're growing your practice and you're getting patients in the door, you're still not happy. You still have this like angst about like, I really don't want to go to work today. I don't want to be there. And so what we figured out is we weren't attracting the ideal clients. And so then when we finally figured out how to start doing that, our practice changed. And it didn't change, just from a growth and a number standpoint, but it changed from a fulfillment and like we were working a lot less. We didn't have to work as hard to get the same message to the people that needed the message. Like doing a doctor's report, doing care recommendations, like all the stress came down. We didn't have to, like, we weren't worried or scared to go in and try to sell someone on a care plan, if they were going to buy or not. So if we didn't know if we were going to be able to pay our bills or not, all that stress and anxiety went away because we were able to deliver what the patients wanted at their level and our level, and everything just kind of started to take off, and it was extremely powerful. And so that's why it's so important to make sure that you're attracting your ideal patients. And so how do you do that, right? The way that you attract your ideal patients is a formula. It's actually just a scientific formula. It's just a written model. And so there's 4 steps to this little formula, right? And this isn't my formula. This is a formula I've gotten from mainly one of my mentors, so Russell Brunson. This is in his book, .com Secrets. I'll post a link in the comments so you guys can check it out. But the formula is pretty straightforward. It's the first question you have to do is you have to figure out exactly who your ideal client is. So you have to write it down. Like, well, the way it's recommended is you literally just sit down and write on a piece of paper, what does your ideal patient look like? How old are they? Are they, men and women, or age ranges? What are their interests? What What do they do for a living? Where do they work? How many, like, do they have kids or not? Do they travel? Write in as much possible detail as you can. Literally kind of create a fictional character, create a story about the person or the people that you really just want are in your practice. And what it should do in all reality is that should reflect the kind of people you like to hang out with. And that's the whole point, is if you're going to get into business in any type, in any capacity, you want to be around people that, like, if you're working with them, you're trying to bring customers in or patients in from a practice standpoint, bring people in that you like being around, bring people in that you enjoy having conversations with. And so what we were able to figure out is, for us, we really liked the older populations. My wife and I had kids young, and we were in practice early. So we had a lot of times we had a hard time connecting with people our age or people younger than us. So it was much easier for us to relate to people that were older than us, and even older than that had kids and had grandkids, because it was just easier for us to relate. And there was a sense of maturity there that we really admired, and it created a really fun, great environment to be in. Also, the patients that are older tend to show up to their appointments. They tend to, not just skip and not call. So we were able to, over time, figure out exactly like who we wanted to work with and what our ideal patients looked like. So we've done that. We've actually sat down and written out what our ideal patients look like, and it changed our practice forever. And so that's the first step, is figure out exactly who you want to work with. So whatever business you're in, whatever kind of practice you have, figure out who your ideal patients are. So if you're in if you're trying to grow a diabetic neuropathy program, you got to keep in mind that the types of people that diabetic neuropathy have certain characteristics and personality types. Is that someone that you're going to be enjoying working with? Because if you're just doing it because you want the money, you're not going to be happy, and you're not going to create a great experience for that person. And ultimately, you're not going to be as successful as you could. You really want to find the things that you're super passionate about. I was at a seminar this weekend training, and it turns out there was a whole group of functional neuropathy chiropractors and nurse practitioners and MDs and DOs there, and great group of people, because they were just so passionate about what they did, what type of care they were providing, the people that they were treating. They were just, they loved it. They wanted to be there. And so that's the kind of example you got to kind of model it in your practice. What do your ideal patients look like? What are their interests? What do they act like? Where are they, who are they? And then make sure that you like them and that you want to hang out with them. So first step, figure out who your ideal customer is by, basically writing down the avatar, figuring out who they are. The second step is figuring out what result you want for them. So if you have an ideal customer, ideal patient, figure out what result that you want for them. So don't think about anything else in between right now. So ideal customer and what result you want for them. All right. So that's the first step. And then the last step is what result you want for them. So then you just basically go out and deliver, right? That's the simplest way to start this whole process. Ideal customer, ideal patient type, and then what results do you want to deliver? And then it gets easy. If you can figure out those two things, everything else kind of gets a lot easier, because then all you have to do is you have to go figure out where these people hang out. Where are they? Where are they hanging out online? Where are they hanging out in real life? What social groups are they in? What organizations are they part of? What businesses do they, what other business do they shop at? What are they doing like with their lives? So if you figure out your ideal customer, what result you want for them, then all you have to do is go and figure out where they are, where they're hanging out. Okay. So that's kind of the third step. Go figure out where they're hanging out. And then you want to create what's called bait, or create an offer, or create something that you can kind of throw in where those people are hanging out. So if they're hanging out in, at a local group down the street, right? They have a private group where they all kind of hang out and they do different meetings. Figure out how to get involved with that meeting, and then figure out something that you can create for them that's an offer. So create an offer for them, which is otherwise known as bait. And what you want to do is you want to throw that bait into that group where your ideal customers are, and you want to start fishing them out and pulling them into your pond. So that's the general gist of how marketing works. If you do it right, is figure out your ideal customer. So in order, it's figure out exactly who you want to work with. You got to figure out where they're hanging out. Then you got to create bait, or create an offer, and you're going to fish them out of wherever they're hanging out and pull them over into your pond so you can create the results that you want for them. It's that simple. Like, if you can, from a practice standpoint, So here's an example. We, in practice, so I have an integrated multidisciplinary practice. We really love serving our Medicare age population and our older patients that have arthritis. We're really good at it, and they're great patients to be around. We love working with them, and so it's just a lot of fun. So we've been able to kind of make some connections, and just by creating a great experience in our practice, we've been able to go and find these relationships with patients, and they've been actually been plugging us into their communities. They've been asking us to come out and reach out to them. So for example, November 7th, I think I was asked to go to, this is something that a lot of us struggle to try to do on our own when we force it, but I was actually asked to go to a local senior center, and they want me to deliver a presentation in front of 60 plus people on how we treat knee pain and the solutions that are out there for them. And so we're actually being asked to go and be in front of these people. We don't even have to, we didn't ask them, they asked us. But that's a great example is, for us, senior center is a perfect spot. Going to the YMCA potentially and getting in front of people there. But the way that we do it, the way that I've been able to do it really successfully, just as an example, is social media, right? Because social media has the ability to, there's an unlimited amount of groups on Facebook and social media, Instagram. That's where you find the pockets. That's where people are hanging out now. Sometimes there's forums and there's still groups that you can find. There's private organizations. There's, the Arthritis Foundation and things like that, where people are gravitating to and they're following. You can get involved with those networks, and instead of trying to go in and say, hey, can I jump in? Or it's figure out a way that you can serve them first. So ask them, hey, how can we help you? Or ask, what can I do for your group? We do a lot of things to help people like this that suffer from these things. We've got some really great programs. I've got some really great free, handouts. I've got some booklets. I'm happy to come in and do a free presentation, free screening. Like, what can we do to help you? And by coming from that, like, how can we help you standpoint, you're going to be able to get in front of those groups, get in front of that traffic. And ultimately, if you serve them and they are your ideal people, it's not going to be hard to take them and throw them some bait and pull them into your circle or into your funnel, right? And that's the trick, is just finding out where they're hanging out, go hang out with them, and then start giving them value in enough quantity that makes them want to jump over or come over to your side or come want to hang out with you and learn more from you. That's pretty much it. And then once you've got that model down, so the formula of getting the people attracted to you is, again, figure out exactly who you want to work with. That's the key. Figure out where they're hanging out, create some bait, create an offer, create something that can get them to take action, and then start pulling them into the result that you want to deliver for them. And so when you get through that process, the next step is you plug them into your sales funnel, right? And so that's what I'll probably talk about next time. So sales funnel is basically how you can plug them into your practice and move them up. And so I'm really excited to talk more about that next time. But I got to get back to work. I've actually got to work on my sales funnel for my marketing. So we've got some really awesome stuff coming. I'm super pumped about this. For the longest time, we've been just focused on doing digital marketing or direct marketing for practices, stem cell, regen med, chiropractic, whatever. And it's been really, really successful. We're actually having a hard time keeping up with everybody, but it's been a lot of fun. And the results are still, like, we're getting better and better at getting better quality leads. We have more sophisticated funnel systems, so we're not just bringing in a bunch of numbers and just having a bunch of fall off and crappy leads. We're actually getting people really good results across the board. But we want to start creating our own value ladder. So the same thing I did in practice, we created a huge value ladder of where we can kind of move people through care. I'm doing the same thing now for my marketing agency. And so right here actually is the kind of the first step. I've got a stem cell funnel that is kind of a secret funnel I'm working on right now, so I'm pretty pumped about that. And then the first thing is I got to finish the book that I started like a year ago. So I got a book that kind of walks chiropractors how to do their own Facebook ads. So I'm going to finish that and get an editor to come in and do it right and then publish it, and I'm pretty pumped. And then we're going to take that and market a 30-day challenge. So a 30-day challenge is going to be basically, I'm going to take what's in the book and the content, and we're going to run it through a group of people for 30 days. And we're going to go through step by step with weekly webinar. It's going to be a lot of fun, and just kind of go through each step on how to successfully set up and build your own funnels and your own Facebook ads and ultimately drive patients in your practice. And then from there, we're going to create a course that for those people that need a little bit more. So we'll create the course that will actually walk you through A to Z. I'm actually really excited. I'm going to be building that out really shortly. I'm actually building it out I've already got some demand for it, so that's a good thing. And then we're going to use that for the people that realize that doing your own funnels and your own ads is kind of hard. We're going to move them up into what we do now, which is the done for you. And then even some custom funnels and things like that for people that we can build them and teach them how to use them. And then ultimately move them into the next step, which is, hey, we got a lot of patients in your practice now. We solved one problem, but we probably created another because now you have all these patients and you don't know how to process them. You don't have systems in place. You don't have protocols, so you can automate. So then we're going to help solve that problem too. So my good buddy, Dr. Todd, and I are going to be putting together some really awesome stuff for that and just kind of keep moving up that ladder. So super pumped. Thanks for listening. Give me some feedback if you guys have anything for me. If you're Chiro and you have questions or concerns, or even if you're just, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in business, you have questions about, the secret formula, or basically that model of how do you attract your ideal customers and deliver the result, send me a message. I'm happy to reach out and talk some shop with you. Stay tuned. Next time, I will be talking about the sales letter. Thanks, guys, so much. Check us out at 10xdigitalmarket.com and talk to you soon. Take care.